Now, of course, if you're losing infrastructure week, what are you going to talk about? What else do you got to talk about? You know, like the job market's looking good, the economy's coming around, even the mask mandate stuff. Everybody's like, it's so confusing. Is the CDC just making up their own shit? Like, even those conversations, they're just eating a lot of news, but aren't really affecting life on the ground. People are wearing their masks again. It's a habit we developed. We'll be fine. It's not that big a deal. So where are you going to go? Well, obviously the border. Horrifying. But Biden's border says illegal crossings reach record high as surge continues. Dun dun dun. Apparently this is called Tucker spars with Geraldo Rivera in heated segment on immigration. I can't wait to see.
Crisis continues to get worse months after Vice President Kamala Harris's visit, and
Well, it's not getting worse. It's pretty much stabilized in its issue, and they're still processing the people who are just sitting in Mexico. I'm sorry, you were hyperbolating.
President released her root causes migration strategy today. It focuses on things like economic inequality, combating corruption, and promoting human rights. But critics point out it doesn't mention securing the border.
Yeah, because securing the border is not part of the root crisis. It's the fruit crisis, if you will. But then you can't use that as an analogy because then you'd have to address all the big agribusiness people who sneak Hispanic people, Mexican people, and Guatemalans and people across the border to pick fruit for them and don't pay them a living wage and then threaten them with deportation if they have any concerns.
Tucker Carlson joins us now. The latest
and it's good that Tucker is back with everybody. Let's see.
I like wood.
All right. I don't know that. Yeah, the border is secure. It's just this silly, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they're going to play footage of people being deported.
Originals is out today on Fox Nation. He goes to the epicenter of the border crisis, where Americans say they are forced to arm themselves. Watch.
He's going to the epicenter on his Tucker Carlson Originals. It's his own. It's sort of like Vice. If Vice included shit about having dinner with Matt Gaetz and a 17-year-old with a woman pretending to be your wife.
Where's our federal government? Nobody's helping us out.
You are the federal government.
People are afraid in their own homes right now. People are afraid in their own yards.
And I never leave home without a pistol in my pocket and a dog on my side.
None of our family feels safe leaving the house without a gun.
This is America. We shouldn't have to live in fear in our own house.
It's going to go to where people are going to start freaking dying. And it ain't going to be us in this.
Well, it might. I don't know that herpes is actually life-threatening. Yeah, this isn't overly dramatic and full of hyper-cut footage and interviews with people who are the paranoia patriots.
Tucker, thanks for joining us today. We're going to all get a chance to ask you a little bit of a...
Yeah, I have a question, Tucker, if I may. One second, Real Doll. Tucker, I noticed you're not in any of that footage. Was it just too hot, or... I mean, usually they'll put footage of somebody walking along with a microphone, but you're an anchor guy. You probably don't have to.
Tell me about the overall approach that you took here to try to bring this story to everybody that can see it on Fox News.
I'm going to go with editing and world-ending blockbuster movie cutting and music.
Well, I mean, the whole key to covering the news is to try and think clearly, and just because the other channels and the administration are telling you that, I don't know, COVID is the biggest story at the moment doesn't mean that it is. And actually, there are a lot of...
Well, it is because we're getting a handle on it, and the only problem areas are red state areas, and you are one of the people directly responsible at Fox for all the deaths. So I can understand why you would want to downplay, to use one of your heroes' favorite words, downplay the importance of the COVID story, and then go talk about something else that something your regular viewers can really get behind. You know what I mean? Can really get excited about.
Crises unfolding around the country, and this is the greatest of all. Our southern border.
Here's a dude jumping out.
Is open.
There's a couple people.
We're going to get literally.
These guys are running.
Millions of foreign nationals into our country illegally.
Come back here.
This year, and the overwhelming majority will stay. And the New York Times.
So that would be a police officer chasing some people.
They announced that they should all be allowed to vote.
There's a
choose our next government, etc. So this is a massive transformation. You can be for it. I mean, some people are for it, of course. That's why it's happening. Some people can be against it, but you should know what's happening. And
some people are for the massive the white genocide browning of America. That's the point he's trying to make. That's what he thinks you're for.
Who live, within 50 miles.
Come on out from under the trailer. This can't be better than life in Guatemala.
To the border have had their lives completely transformed and destroyed in a lot of cases because of it. There are victims of this. It's not a victim.
Look at that guy. Clearly
at all.
Clearly MS-13. I have a question. And this probably already going to be answered in the actual segment. I apologize if I double myself. But first of all,
in a lot of cases because of it, there are victims.
Does everybody in MS-13 look like they know more about picking kale than the buyer at Whole Foods? And secondly, did you throw in this black frame just to remind us all how scary black is? Sorry, it doesn't look good when they run out of footage on your new show when your own network is helping you promote it.
Crime at all, and we felt duty bound to show what it looks like. And
yes, you are always bound for duty.
What do they think of it? Like, let's say you live in Uvalde, Texas. What is your life like? Can your kids go to school? Answer, no, because the border's open. And for some reason, no one is telling the story. I must have seen 15 stories about people who didn't get the vaccine and they're sick and they deserve it. I mean, that's like the lead of every website in the world right now. Okay, but maybe there are other people.
But maybe this guy hiding under a trailer who's been arrested, detained, and will be deported is less of a story than super spreader events in multiple red states that are killing people who watch Fox News primarily.
People suffering, and maybe we should tell their story. So we did, and that's what this is about.
Katie, we'll take it around the table here.
Hey, Tucker, congrats on this new special. I think it's a really important topic.
It's so important. It's so important. I left the other T out of important.
It's
important.
The other part of this is the vice president who has been tasked and put out these talking points, which we've been seeing for 30 years on this issue. And yesterday, the State Department.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it feel like Kamala Harris has been vice president for like 30 years? Oh my God, it's like forever.
Announced that they're actually cutting off ties to the Attorney General's office in Guatemala because of a lack of cooperation on corruption issues. So how do people feel about the way that Washington is?
Well, yeah, it's true. And the Guatemalan ruling class are not as involved in corruption with the U.S. government as they were, say, when Trump was president. For some reason, they had a lot of things in common in terms of corruption.
Ignoring this issue and just putting out talking points.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm as patriotic, I think, as anybody. But it's not Guatemala's.
No, you're not. You're not.
Fault. It's not El Salvador's fault. It's not right. It's not Honduras's fault, and it's not even Mexico's fault. It's our fault. We do two things. One, we provide a massive incentive for people to come here by
being a better country and richer and safer.
The most generous welfare benefits in the world to the.
Except you don't get them if you're deported. We also deport people at a higher clip than all of our South American neighbors.
People who come illegally, and two, by opening the borders and summoning them. So to whip around.
Which we did not do. No one opened the borders and summoned them. As a matter of fact, the Biden administration has said, don't come in English and Spanish. Harris went to the actual countries before she went to the border to tell them, don't come, don't make the trek.
And blame climate change or the government.
Yes, 30 years of Kamala rule and the Parliament Funkadelic Army. I feel like I want to stand in front of those tanks in Watchman Square. I don't know what it is.
Of Honduras or corruption, as if we can fix that. I mean, imagine the hubris required to say, okay, all.
Well, no, we're not fixing we're just not providing them with we're not expecting them to facilitate a solution to the problem by funding them to do that. It's the same thing about the traffic lights. Biden was talking about all the South American countries going, we have a crime problem, and that's why the people come up. And like, we need more traffic lights, so give us some money and we'll put up traffic lights. And Biden was like, how about we come down there and put up some traffic lights for you? How about that? We're not just going to give you fucking money. We'll come, if that's the problem you have, we'll send some folks down. Army Corps of Engineers and some American NGOs and federal workers. We'll come down there and we'll install some traffic lights. Actually, we don't need traffic lights. All right, well then, you were bullshitting us. You were just going to skim the money.
What we need to do is change 300 years of custom in a country whose language we don't speak, and we'll have it fixed. I mean, like, you
Yeah. They're corrupt because of 300 years of how they live. You know, it's not like they live now in 2021. All of these countries are basically living like it's the 1700s.
truly are a moron if you say something like that. I mean, honest.
I know it's Tiananmen Square. I was trying to come up with another variation that fit the Parliament Funkadelic Army, and never mind.
No, it's our fault. It's our welfare benefits and our open border. It's that simple.
Geraldo.
We don't have an open border, and our welfare benefits only go to people who actually get the asylum and actually get to stay, and most people get turned away en masse.
Hey, Tuck, it's a subject near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
I am glad that you didn't lead with the migrants bringing COVID in, as too many reports that I've seen in recent days do, because those overblown health fears are the xenophobic reaction to immigrants since the Irish in the 19th century. The Irish in the 19th century. The Chinese in the 1880s, the Italians in the turn of the century, the Jews from Eastern Europe.
Now I like Geraldo again just because he made Tucker Carlson throw up in his own mouth, which is weird, because I was going to make a really untoward swallowing joke. I'm going to back away slowly.
From the program. They were all bringing smallpox. They were all bringing tuberculosis.
Geraldo, we live in a country where we are being forced to take a vaccine that some people, newsflash, don't want to take.
Hi, asshole. No one is being forced to take a vaccine. Even federal workers there's a mandate for federal workers to get vaccinated. Quit. Go work in the private sector. Healthcare workers in a hospital, you're not being forced. You just have to do it if you want to keep working here. That's not force. Force would be darts from drones giving it to people as they were herding across the plain states trying to escape government drone strikes of vaccination, or gathering people up like The Walking Dead or something. It's bullshit. No one's being forced. No one.
That Americans can be arrested for not wearing a mask because COVID is so serious, but
no, you will be arrested if you don't wear a mask in the Capitol building and you refuse to leave, because it's a form of trespassing. That's why. No one's being arrested for not wearing a mask. They're being arrested if they don't want to wear a mask and they're trespassing in a private business or on private property, specifically where they're not wearing a mask, where that person there wants them to.
Foreign nationals break our laws carrying COVID and somehow they're exempt from the requirements that we live under. That's not xenophobic.
They're not. They're caught. They're kept in COVID isolation. If they test positive, they're given masks. They're not. They're like, oh, wait, I'm sorry. How'd you get in the country? Oh, you snuck across the border. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, you can go into any mall you want not wearing a mask. Yeah, no. And when I saw you come in here, everybody else was wearing a mask, and then you came in, you weren't wearing a mask, and I was like, oh my God, this person is either vaccinated or violating policy. And then I found out you were illegally here, and I was like, oh no, you can go anywhere. Go, please.
Phobia, that's equal application of the law, and it's not happening now. And it's an appalling double standard that every American, including you, should be mad about.
Well, I'm mad about exaggeration and hype.
It's a policy.
Yes, I mean, you're talking to a dude who they just ran an ad for his show that looked like 2012 to 2021.
They are not forcing. Look, if you work in the federal government, you have to get the vaccine. But if you break.
Yeah, but you can leave. You have to get it if you want to stay, if you want to continue to work for the federal government. You don't have to. People resign all the time. People quit. I'll go get a real fucking job. You don't even think government jobs are real jobs, asshole.
Our laws as an illegal alien, you don't? Why don't you explain why that's a good idea to me?
Well,
Well, no one's forcing them to get a vaccine or offering it to them, though.
I don't think the segment's about me. I would be glad to, but I think I would rather refer it to let Jesse be the subject.
Okay.
And Greg's going to ask you about fishing.
Geraldo, this is what we've been, Tucker, this is what we've been dealing with all week with Geraldo. So I'm just, my apologies on the show's
I love Geraldo.
behalf. We love him too, but sometimes he needs a little tough love.
But he's not like us. Have you heard the proper pronunciation of his name? Ew. Am I right?
I caught last night some of the clip that you promoted, and one of these homeowners,
That's a rousing endorsement of Tucker's work on the channel. I caught some of the trailer.
Was packing heat, and she never did that before. It was the first time she had to do this because she said cartels were operating on our side of the border. And tell me what you thought about that comment.
Mexico is one of the most dangerous countries in the world.
True.
You know, I grew up right near Mexico. I really like Mexico, and I like people who live in Mexico.
Yeah, you love Ted Cruz, for example. Why isn't he on the panel?
But there's a...
I mean, it's a great place to go while your constituents are freezing to death.
war going on in Mexico, which we never even acknowledge. People who live near it are very aware of it, but there's literally a war. I mean, not long ago, the Mexican military backed down in the face of the cartels because the cartels were better armed. So that's the context here. True. And we ignore that. It's not just, you know, these are not people just searching for a better life. These are refugees from a war zone, and that has massive...
That's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, thank you very much, Kim. These are refugees from a war zone. People who are trying to escape being killed in a drug war. So what there's something they could, if they're in that situation, there's something they could claim that would allow them to stay in the United States. It starts with it's something, if I look at your face, maybe I can remember what the word is. It starts with ass. I look at your face and I think ass. Asylum, that's what it is. Okay, good. Thanks
for us. As to the fact people down there are armed, yeah. And it really should make all of us wonder, why would the federal government try to be disarming us, which they are trying to do?
No, they're not. None of these people are in danger of being disarmed.
Exactly the moment when they're increasing the threat to us, as they are also doing. Like, what is that?
I don't know. Here's what I would say is, you live in New York, and you are a millionaire.
I like wood.
Just, for the record.
I'd love to know what that's about.
Last question from Greg.
Yeah, ask him another question so he can furrow his brow more.
Tucker, good to see you on the 5, even though you said you couldn't do my show, but that's okay.
It's not that he can't, Greg. It's just that there's nothing in it for him. I mean, if he wants shitty ratings, he can do his own show.
Who's doing this show, man?
That's not enough.
See?
I thought we were friends. All right, so I want to...
Yeah, that is a laugh line. No one at Fox are friends. Even the Fox and Friends aren't friends. Moment of seriousness. I have never, and I've been to that network's building. I mean, it's been a few years, but all those people were there. I have never been in a place where the people who work there had as much disdain for each other and genuine hatred for their coworkers and people who are equally as shitty as that person. It's not like, of course, everyone at Fox is going to hate Sean Hannity. He's awful. Same with Bill O'Reilly. Dude paid fucking $32 million to hide a ongoing rape charge. That obviously you're going to hate that guy. But Bill O'Reilly hated other people there on an equal level.
Talk about this.
And he wasn't wrong. Like they were all like they just can't fucking stand each other. I'm dead serious. None of these assholes hang out. None of them. Thank you, Carl.
Some guy got in your face at some fishing store in Montana. Fishing store.
Yeah, can you think of something more beta than that? Fishing. Why couldn't you be in an ammo store? So disgusting. I mean, you're on the butchest network ever, bruh, and you're buying bait?
I like wood.
It's no excuse. It's just no excuse.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, we call it a fly shop.
Fly shop, thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that actually, I gotta say, it makes sense that he was in a fly shop.
Deeper and longer. I like wood.
Yeah, okay, so, sorry, fly shop.
I find it very frustrating that adult men are now becoming like mean girls. Like, he could have come up to you and...
Dude, Greg, that's your whole fucking show. Miserable sniping. That literally is it. This show could be called Mean Girls. They basically are. Thank you, guys.
Actually expressed
I'm good for a couple seconds.
And you could have had a conversation.
I can finish. I think I have enough time to finish this bit, I think, and I'll be good.
But he couldn't do that without somebody filming it, because he knew that if he had that little someone to film it, that would impact your response.
Yeah, he had better production values than Tucker Carlson originals, let's just say.
Which, as a wise person in the media, you know that. Then you just look and you just go.
Whoa. Okay, citation needed, but...
Hey, see you later. I'm wondering what you would have done if the person wasn't filming it, because...
Oh, bro, dude. If somebody wasn't filming it, bam! He'd have just... He would have, like, called somebody or pretended to take a call, like, whoom. Like, that dude wouldn't have known what didn't hit him.
Might have had a conversation.
Hassling me in front of one of my kids? I mean, I had some dark thoughts, which I'm not going to articulate here. I will say...
I don't know that guy would be afraid of you sexually assaulting him, Tucker.
The bigger, leaving me totally out of it, the bigger problem is that the mountain states have been completely invaded by the people who destroyed California. And what's so interesting...
Yeah, you mean the people with money?
Is they're the exact same people who lecture you day and night about diversity, and it's so important, and you're a racist, and et cetera, et cetera. And then they run to Montana with the same attitude. They literally run from the hills away from diversity, and they...
Towards more land.
Hills greatly suffer when they do that. I'll leave it there.
Why don't you whack them?
The hills greatly suffer when they're sick with Tucker.
That's that Tucker style. All right. Tucker Carlson, thanks. Congrats on the special. We'll definitely take a look at it. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try and watch part, if not all, of the trailer for it, Tucker. No one on the 5 is going to watch that. Nobody. They're not going to have a watch party and go, hey, congrats on your new show, and they're not going to watch it. I'm just calling it right now. None of these fuckers are going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. They're not going to watch it. Like, and I could at least make comedy out of it, so there's a value to me possibly watching it, although it's funnier if, we do it raw and you guys see it for the first time. Sorry, I didn't mean to do it raw. Sounds really weird.
I like wood.
But in case, for the record, none of the 5 can stand him, and he can't stand any of the 5. They don't hang out. They have nothing but disdain for each other. And none of them are going to watch his show. And he doesn't watch Greg's show because he thinks it's below him. And Greg knows his show is below Tucker, and he's angry about it. And Greg can't even have his own show anymore. They have to stack him with 5 other people so that they can just keep people watching. And I know it's, it's got to be tough, Greg, because not everybody can have a show where it's literally just them by themselves, interviewing no one, and playing clips and making jokes and being well informed about stuff. It's very difficult. This is heavy lifting, Greg. No one's going to shame you for not being able to do what I do. You can't do it. Tucker can't do it. Tucker has to have Jimmy Dore on just to look less stupid for a couple of seconds on his own show. That's work. Would I join the 5 if I was asked? No. I would be a guest on it just to fuck with them, but I would never join the show. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just like, that's embarrassing.
So much for having me. Good to see you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Hey, Sean, stop saying hey.